Hey everybody, this is Charles Warner with Innovation and Tech Today, and we are here with Gregg Bell, the COO of Salt Lending.
Indeed, yes. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks a lot for coming here. So we are going to talk today a little bit about, well, first of all, the event that we're at. Could you tell us a little bit about what's going on here in Denver?
Sure. So we have our first D4C, which is Day for Crypto, and it's really an educational event that's right here in our home backyard, and it's to address the biggest problem that we have in the crypto space right now. It's about getting proper education and understanding what this technology is and what it means for all the various industry verticals that are out there and individuals as well.
What do you think the average consumer thinks about blockchain or crypto? What do you think, or what do you guys know is sort of the perception?
Wow, I think that people immediately go to the first crypto asset being Bitcoin, and there's certainly high volatility. So there's speculation. There is a history of fraud, and that's actually the first approach that I had when I first got involved with cryptocurrencies. I thought, whoa, this is something that I should stay away from. This is something that maybe I should look at shorting because I came from an investment background. And the more that I learned, the more that I dug into the technology, I took the entire opposite position and said, no, this is something quite revolutionary. This is an innovative technology, and we need to understand it, and I need to understand it.
Do you think that recently there's been a big spike in it was always on the radar. We did a story back in our winter issue of 2013 talking about, Bitcoin and everything like that. And back then it wasn't worth anywhere near what it's worth now. And it seemed like it was just kind of, floating. It was on the radar and crypto was on the radar, but it seems like the past year, it's really kind of exploded onto the stage. And like you said, there's so much more to it than just Bitcoin. There's other cryptos and then, of course, the blockchain.
Yes, I mean, it's people very quickly go to the price component, and that certainly has gone up tremendously in the last year. But I think what's more interesting to me is the adoption. It's the number of transactions that have occurred, the number of wallets that have been created, the number of businesses that are really looking at this technology and saying, how can this improve our existing experience, our customer experience, and that's where as a foundational technology, blockchain and Bitcoin for that matter will really be incredibly exciting to see how it develops over the next years to come.
So in your opinion, how can it improve their the businesses and things like that and its top line?
When you break it down, it's about having a faster, cheaper, and more secure system. Mm-hmm. And that's really what blockchain is all about. It's a database infrastructure that records some sort of information, and if it can do it in a faster, cheaper, and more secure way than what's currently out there, then it's going to be widely adopted. And that's why you see all of the biggest tech companies, all of the biggest investment banks, all of the world auditors, they are dedicated and dedicating dollars as well as resources and human capital to understanding how this will, positively impact their businesses and the businesses of their clients.
It feels like, because Innovation and Tech Today, we've got a little bit of our finger on the pulse with, these trends that are coming and going. It feels like the beginning of maybe, when AI was just coming out, or it feels like the beginning, when the smart home technology, all of a sudden you could control everything on your phone. We're seeing all these really cool technologies and adoptions of these technologies in more mainstream businesses. It feels like we're just kind of sort of tip of the iceberg with blockchain. What do you think?
We're getting to a place where the accessibility is improving, and so the average consumer can interact with this technology in a way that maybe they couldn't a few years ago. And the easier that hurdle becomes, the lower that hurdle becomes, the more you're going to see that it's going to feel more like something that is just run of the mill, and people really will be able to use the technology for the advantages that it offers.
So kind of what you're saying is that barrier to entry is getting easier for people to get involved, and also, accessibility as far as less friction, less steps. It's becoming more, mainstream.
Mainstream is probably not the right word just yet. I think it will be mainstream. It will be widely adopted. I like to think that if you rewind the clock a little bit, prior to 2000, people or companies maybe didn't think that they needed a website to interact with their customer base. And today, many people are questioning, why do we need a token? Why do we need a cryptocurrency? I believe we're going to be in a future where every single company that's out there is going to have a token in the same way that they have websites right now. So we're very, very early.
Wow.
But it's an amazing technology, and it really has some incredible advantages.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Salt. Like, what are you guys doing specifically with regard to blockchain and accessibility to capital for people that maybe need funding?
Sure. So SALT stands for Secured Automated Lending Technology. It's an acronym, but SALT is also one of the first currencies that was ever used. If you go back to the Roman time, soldiers were paid in salt. And what we recognized very quickly was that Bitcoin, being the first blockchain asset, was really a cash alternative. Even the inventor described it as an electronic form of cash. But economies function on more than just cash. There's cash and credit. And in developed countries, credit is actually multiples of that of the cash ecosystem. And so we wanted to bring credit to this market, and we wanted to do so in a safe and secure manner that still provided people with the safeguards and system and expectation that they have when they interact with any other financial institution. And so that's really what we've been focusing on. It's about asset-backed lending in a safe manner. It's about safe debt, good debt, and you can do this using cryptocurrencies in an innovative way.
Seems like a dream come true for somebody who's maybe a small business owner or somebody who's in a situation where they need capital. Maybe they don't have, traditionally, what is it, like you take out a home equity line of credit, or, traditionally you've got credit cards or something like that. So it seems like this just opens up a whole nother avenue of opportunities for a lot of these small businesses and even mid-size and big companies that are looking for a way to access capital.
That's right. One of the problems that has, in many ways, stifled the innovation that you see in the blockchain space is that these companies these startups have been largely unbanked. They are operating in a new ecosystem, and their revenue structures have been such that they're not maybe taking in dollars for their sales, but their expenses are still in dollars. So, they're a new company. They're trying to grow. They're trying to pay their salaries and rents and things like this. Typically, they're denominated in dollars, yet their revenue streams might be in Bitcoin. And so that requires them to sell it and requires them to interact with the marketplace that maybe is secondary to their business. And so what we're saying is we can assist them by introducing credit into their balance sheet and helping them optimize their corporate structure.
So basically, for companies, having crypto, it definitely could be one of those buckets of where you're keeping your different assets as a business, and crypto will be something that they'll want because not only does it have the value of going up potentially or going down, but it also now you could borrow against it and have a portfolio.
That's right. It's lending has been one of the oldest industries in the world, and it will continue to be an industry as new technology is adopted. And so what we're looking at is an asset-based lending model. It's a commodity per the CFTC, and we're allowing people to use a new commodity, a digital commodity like Bitcoin, as collateral for a dollar-denominated loan. So what does that mean? It provides optionality to both an individual and a business where they can say, I'm going to hold on to something that I feel is appreciating, which we've seen in the past that Bitcoin has appreciated significantly, and I can borrow something that I need to spend, like dollars or euros or yen.
So this, in my opinion, I would say this is pretty disruptive. What's happening, especially with blockchain and stuff like that. And it seems like that when we have things that are disruptive, that are introduced to the marketplace, they're generally met with some type of, resistance from the status quo. Is that a pretty safe?
We've actually seen,
or is it the other way?
We've seen a positive response, and I think that has changed over the last year as there's been more widespread adoption. Mm-hmm. But as I said before, the financial industry is still going to do the things that they do and have done for a millennium.
Sure.
And that is lending.
Yeah.
That is, providing services to their clients. And if they can find a technology that is a cheaper and more effective means of doing their business, they're going to find ways to adopt. And that's really what SALT's about. It's about a network of lenders and borrowers. And our lenders are financial institutions.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you like to say to our audience if they said, "Okay, you got me. I'm interested. This sounds like a pretty good idea." What are kind of the next steps for people in our audience that would want to get more involved or want to potentially utilize technology like this for their business?
I think the first step is education, and that plays into the security component. There's a lot of a new form of experience that comes along with holding cryptocurrencies. If you're going to hold something that has value, you want to make sure that you're able to protect it. And one of the benefits of cryptocurrencies and blockchain assets is that they disrupt barriers and they give the sovereignty to the individual. They give you the ability in the same way, if you were to hold dollars in your wallet, they give you to hold value, digital value, that you can transfer in the same way that you can send an email internationally, nearly instantaneously, written in any language, anywhere in the world, at any point in time, in any amount. That's the power that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin provide, and you don't have to get an okay from a bank to do so. And so making sure that if you're going to hold your wealth in this form, you want to make sure that you understand the risks and that you have the proper security measures in place to protect your assets.
So let me ask you this: the financial institutions that are out there, what can they do if they want to get on board with something like this? What would you recommend that they do?
So the genesis of this company of SALT was our founder Sean Owen walking into his bank and looking for a loan, and he filled out an application that included all of his assets, and he wrote down several numbers of his Bitcoin holdings and cryptocurrency holdings. And at that point in time, the bank wasn't able to recognize them, so they were basically zeroed out, and he got a loan based off the value of some of his stock portfolio. And that really, you can't fault the financial institution for that, because there was a lack at that point in time of a framework to understand the risk of lending against a new type of asset.
And they're all about minimizing their risk, right?
That's right, and that's what lending is really about, in terms of being able to accurately assess what the risk is of providing capital to another party, an individual or business. And so I think as financial institutions become to warm and get more interested in this space, they should be looking at some of the thought leaders and some of the service providers that are out there to say, where can I turn to maintain the existing customer experience that I provide to all of my other clients, utilizing this new technology? And that's what SALT Secured Automated Lending Technology is about, providing that security, providing that understanding and risk framework to say that Bitcoin that you wrote on that sheet a few years ago, we had to call it zero. It's not zero anymore. We're going to recognize it at the value that it really is today.
So let me ask you this, Greg. Why Denver? Why have this event here in Denver? What's the significance of this city for this event?
It's amazing, and I think that in years to come, people are going to look back and be very proud of the innovation that's occurred here in Denver as one of the global hubs in developing blockchain technology. The infrastructure that was put in place over the last years in terms of some of the tech companies from Silicon Valley that have moved out to Denver and Boulder in the greater area here has really provided a tremendous amount of talent and interest here. So I think it's a combination of having the right people, having the right interests. There's a little bit of a libertarian bent in Colorado, and that started what really started sort of the Bitcoin movement. Mm-hmm. It's maturing, but it's about having thought leaders and having technology, and quite frankly, Denver is a thought leader in this space.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of work with the Colorado Technology Association, and they have really created an environment where tech companies, entrepreneurship, everything like that can really thrive here and attract the talent you need to grow.
That's right, and it's about having the right people and having passion, and Denver has the combination of both.
Nice. Well, everybody, I hope you're as excited as we are because blockchain, it's here to stay. There are so many applications we'll be talking about in the next issue and in future videos that it literally goes across all the spectrums and all the gamuts. And I think that we're just barely scratching the surface of what blockchain can do, and the things we'll be seeing in the future will definitely be pretty exciting. Thanks a lot, Gregg, for taking some time.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody. This is Charles Warner with Innovation and Tech Today.